Hello there, I'm Kevin Parson, and as some of you know, I've been doing a series of online chats recently, particularly the last couple of months during lockdown. And today, I'm really, really pleased to have May Black with me. May is a content writer, tutor, is that right, May?
Yeah, I've written all sorts of things, poetry, short stories as well.
Yep. So, and May covers the whole area around here. So, May, good morning. Great to have you with us. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I was born in Norwich. I moved to Ipswich about 10 years ago. When I moved to Ipswich, I set up Suffolk Writers Group, and I run various creative writing activities and poetry classes, which I used to do from home, but now I've gone on to Zoom to lead those, which is actually, it was horrible to start with, but actually I've got used to it now, so that's all going okay, really.
Yeah, that Zoom it can become all encompassing, can't it? You have to start somewhere, and up until 2 months ago, I'd been on a guest on Zoom, but not actually done it myself. Now it's I think it's obviously something that's going to be the part of our life in the future.
Well, I think so. I mean, I've always, for the last 10 years, I've run sessions on story writing and different writing styles, and I've always wanted to do more poetry. And every time I do a poetry session, I've always got half the group having a little moan and saying how much they hated poetry at school. And I sort of make them do it anyway, because I say it's good for them. But now, because I can go in a wider area, so I've got people from across East Anglia, I've got people across the world actually, I can have more poets, and it means I can do a lot more sessions on poetry, which is lovely, which is a treat. I mean, I love doing the short stories and the novel people as well, but it's particularly fun to do more poetry.
So you actually help people create, do creative writing, and obviously over a really different variable wide subject. So just tell us a little bit about in more detail, what they are. For example, like your short stories. How does that actually work?
Well, how should people write a short story, or how I teach them to?
Well, yeah, a little bit of both, really. Because I sometimes, when I'm looking at something, I want to write something, I see a blank piece of paper and my mind goes blank.
Well, so what we do in the group is that we'll do lots of very short writing exercises. So I might say, look at this ornament, write a story about it, write about how it came to be there. So we'll do lots of little writing exercises, and then we'll talk about how maybe you can structure a short story. And it all comes down to character, really. So a lot of our time is spent making characters, basing them on other people, but also using other elements. So it's all character and then a little bit of plot. But it's variety, really. We use so many different ways to get ideas, and then we look at the crafting. But it's not just me. It's very much a collaborative approach I have. So.
And do you find most people they're doing it as a hobby, or do you have professional people saying, "Look, I need to write me, for example, I need to write my blogs every week, but I just like myself, have a blank page, and I have a complete blank. Where do I start?" What's the people who do it?
It's almost exactly divided down the middle, actually, I think. I've had professional writers that have got publishing contracts. Recently, I've got a man coming that's a very successful author already. He's actually come along with his son, who's quite new to writing, so that's lovely. And I have people that have published poems, and then some absolutely right at the start of their writing journey. So it's a real widespread, and it's lovely, actually. It's really nice that the more experienced writers then support the newer writers. So it doesn't actually matter, to some extent, how much experience people have got, because it's not a science, it's an art, and we can all learn from each other. I think.
Sorry, and with and obviously with those people, like you say, they're sort of they're wide and far, sort of where they're located. Presumably, you've got sort of like a little nucleus of people in the local area as well.
Yes, normally I run my groups from my home in Ipswich, and it was really annoying actually. My groups were really swelling in numbers, which was lovely, and I thought, oh, I'd get a really big dining table, and so I went out and I bought a really big dining table that could seat 10 writers, and then lockdown came in. So it's sitting there, it's absolutely beautiful, but it's not used. It's just me and my husband and my cat, and it's not getting a lot of use at the moment.
And you might not hold writing parties anyway, because obviously if you're doing it on here, is that working as well, do you think, sort of online as well as in person?
Well, I quite like it. It means, like I say, I can get a variety of different people coming along. It means what I used to do in 2 hours, I now do in an hour, because it's quite an intense experience Zoom. But what it means is that you just see, I find when I'm tutoring, you just get more done, but it's different. But I don't mind the Zoom. I did ask people, do you want to just stick to Zoom from now on? And loads of people said they like it, but a lot of people said, no, we definitely want the personal touch.
Yeah, still want the face-to-face, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that, because obviously you do get more interaction when sort of, you're actually face-to-face rather than sort of just on sort of virtual reality, really, isn't it? Which is what we are. So, and obviously you say you obviously lived in Norfolk and Suffolk for all your life. So, what do you like about the area?
Well, it's the only place I know. But I think we're so lucky. I think with the it's so green and beautiful, and good. I mean, for me, it's the sort of wildlife and the open space. The people are lovely. I mean, I was sort of when I was living in Norwich, and I said I was going to move to Ipswich, and people said, "Oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, it's a bit rough," but it couldn't be further from that. We've had such a warm welcome here, and people have been so nice. We're very lucky. Where we've moved to, called Ravenswood, and we've got our own Facebook group, and people, every time I go to the shops, people are saying hello and smiling. So yeah, very lucky. But yeah, Norwich was equally lovely. Nice people, but I think there's nice people everywhere, is there? I don't know.
Well, I think so. I think it's like most places, isn't it? Really, you have good areas and not quite so good areas, and the same with people. But I think particularly with the lockdown, as we've seen it, I think it has brought the good out of everybody. I think sort of because I think now more people perhaps talk when they actually walking down the street. Perhaps I don't know whether that's the case in big cities, but it just seems that sort of everyone, well, we're all in this together.
Absolutely, it's a real sort of wartime spirit at the moment, isn't it? And it's this kind of, we can ride it out, and I like the rainbows in the windows. I think they're wonderful, and we finished doing the clapping for the NHS round our way. Is that everywhere that's finished doing that?
I think the idea was it was finishing last night.
Yeah. But we had it round our area. We had some people dress up as superheroes. So we had a Batman and a Spider-Man, and they were all charging about. We had people playing saxophones. So yeah, real lovely community we've got here. Right.
And so obviously, obviously not including sort of the last couple of months, but obviously you've seen a lot of things change. I mean, have you seen a lot of what have you seen change over the last 20 years or so? Do you think it's wildly changed, or it's still sort of, as they call it, silly Suffolk in a lot of parts of the country?
And you know what silly means? Do you know what silly means? I heard this recently. Apparently it's not silly and daft. It apparently comes from religious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently so. I can't remember exactly the details, but yeah, it comes from that we're religious, some old Anglo-Saxon word or something maybe. But I've forgotten the question now. What was it?
What happened over the last 20 years? How things have changed over the last 20 years? Yeah.
What, Norwich or Ipswich?
Well, both. Sort of, or just the whole of Suffolk and Norfolk.
Well, It's funny. I mean, I was talking to my husband about this earlier, and he said, "Oh, Norwich has changed a lot." I mean, I can't see it really because we moved 10 years ago, and most of it's the same. I mean, with the library and how arty it is, and I don't, there's a few buildings gone up and down. I suppose everywhere's going to change now, isn't it? I don't know how the high streets are going to cope with it all. So.
I think sort of, it's never changing landscape, and you just don't know sort of how things are going to change, whether they change dramatically, whether it's just going to go. I don't think it's going to go back to how it was prior to obviously lockdown, but I think sort of there will still be some things we always do, and particularly sort of where you're meeting people, friends, or anything. I suppose the difference will be if you've got meetings in London, it makes it a lot easier, as you say, rather than spending 2 or 3 hours, you can do it all in an hour and cut out all the travelling. So I think sort of there will be some changes, but let's hope sort of not too many.
Well, I don't know, if we're all using less carbon and not travelling around so much, it could be lovely.
That's true. That's very true. So obviously, and as we record this, we're sort of semi out of lockdown now. Sort of, so my industry is, and I think sort of over the weekend and next week things are starting to relax a little bit more. So is there anything in particular that you, or certainly over the last couple of months, you've really been saying, I can't wait until we get out of lockdown? Is there something in particular that you'd really like to do, whether it's a pub, cafe, restaurant, go to the coast, or whatever it might well be?
Well, we went to Felixstowe, we went to Coast the other day, but of course all the public toilets are still shut, so it's a bit scary, isn't it? Got to be careful. But yeah, I'd love to see my parents. They've just moved to Heatherset recently, so it'd be lovely to go and sit in their garden with them. So yeah, that would be a treat. I'd love, looking forward to the writing group starting again, but I think that's going to be a long time still. But yeah, seeing my parents.
You just have to get a 30-seater dining room table and sit every other 3 people so that you're still distancing.
I love that. I think I need a mansion, wouldn't I?
And finally, just if you could describe the people of the area in one word, sort of how would you think you describe the people? My new area, welcoming. Yeah, great. Well, I think sort of, and certainly I found over these years, we're now we've done quite a few of these, and I think sort of what has really gone through has been the friendliness and the community spirit of really everybody who's been around. So, mate, I think I've really enjoyed today. Thank you very so much for chatting with us. I hope sort of you get your dining room table sort of into use in the not too distant future, even if it's having a family dinner party, sort of, let alone the story writers. But thanks so much. And obviously, if you know May or you have any comments you'd like to make, please do make them below, sort of on the comments there. And of course, if you know anyone as well who you think should be on here and having a chat with me, please do nominate them. Preferably to send me a message, because then I'll be able to pick that up. And finally, I'd just like to say, May, thanks again for your time. Really been really interesting speaking to you, and I look forward to bumping into you again. Lovely.
Rob, could I just give my website out?
Of course you can, yeah.
So it's www.suffolkwritersgroup.com.
Marvellous, great. So, May, thanks for that, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye.